Any engine can go fast. The real test is how long it keeps going. That's the true test of reliability. The ones that matter survive abuse, rack up miles, and keep firing when everything else gives out. They're the backbone of long rides, the unsung heroes under battered tanks, and the reason some bikes outlive their owners. These are the 12 most reliable motorcycle engines ever made. Starting with Yamaha Mitch 09 CP3 engine. Some engines are dependable, this one is dependable and wild. The Yamaha 09's 890cc CP3 inline 3 is a riot on wheels that refuses to die. Born from Yamaha's crossplane philosophy, the CP3 engine delivers a perfectly linear torque curve, giving you all the predictability you need without taking the fun away. At 117 horsepower and nearly 69 pound-feet of torque, it's got more than enough muscle to tear up back roads, but it's how it delivers that power in a smooth, punchy, and always eager manner that makes it special. This engine was a masterpiece that wasn't just thrown together. It's been carefully overbuilt with features that scream longevity. Forged aluminum pistons, ceramic composite-coated cylinders, and a 6-speed gearbox that shifts like butter even after years of hard riding. And the best part is that it doesn't beg for attention. It just runs. Across long-term rider logs, the CP3 engine has built a quiet legacy. Hitting 60,000 to 100,000 miles isn't rare with this engine, it's expected. Owners report minimal issues even after a decade of use. No chronic oil burning, no fragile valves, no catastrophic timing failures, just consistent, low-maintenance performance. The CP3 power plant has found its way into bikes like the Tracer 9 and XSR 900 for this reason. If you want an engine that balances performance and durability without blinking, the MT-09's CP3 is about as close to perfect as it gets. Number 11, Harley-Davidson Evolution and Milwaukee 8 V-twins. By the early 1980s, Harley-Davidson was flatlining. Japanese manufacturers were dominating the reliability game, and Harley's aging shovelhead motors were bleeding warranty cash. The brand's future was unsteady, but then came the Evolution. Launched in 1984, the Evolution Vi-twin was a big mechanical upgrade, cleaner, cooler running, and far more robust than the wheezy panheads and shovelheads before it. The Evo engine put Harley back on the map. The classic 45 degrees architecture stayed, but everything else was re-engineered. Lighter alloy heads, improved cooling, tighter tolerances, and hydraulic lifters all meant one thing. Harley finally had an engine that could go the distance. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't overbuilt, but it was consistent. And in the world of V-twins, consistency wins loyalty. Riders who had spent decades watching parts rattle loose suddenly had a motor that just worked, especially post-1991, as EFI replaced carbs and minor upgrades ironed out the bugs. The Evo became known as the first modern Harley engine that didn't need constant babysitting. But Harley didn't stop there. In 2016, the Milwaukee 8 engine took everything the Evo pioneered and turned it up a notch, or several. Bigger displacement up to 114, 117, and 121 cubic inches, liquid-cooled heads, dual spark plugs, smoother idle, more torque, and crucially, even better thermal management, making long-distance touring actually enjoyable, not just survivable. The Milwaukee 8 is the most refined and reliable big twin Harley's ever built. Harley took the best features of the Evolution and just made it better. Whether you're cruising on a street glide or chewing highway miles on a Road King, this engine delivers seamless torque and bulletproof longevity in equal measure. The Evo earned respect. The Milwaukee 8 took the throne. But this next engine single-handedly changed the British bike world. Number 10, Triumph twin engine. When Edward Turner rolled out his 500cc Triumph parallel twin in 1937, it was a hard reset. Earlier attempts, like Val Page's 6/1, were sluggish and heavy. But Turner's engine was compact, light, and disguised as something familiar. It was a clever twin-port single lookalike, built to win over skeptical buyers. At 27 horsepower, it was no rocket, but it was smooth, reliable, and it quietly rewrote the future of British motorcycling. Then came World War II. While rivals retooled for tanks and munitions, Triumph's twin sat waiting, and when peace came, it exploded onto the post-war scene. By the 50s, Triumph had stretched the twin to 650cc and later to 750cc, building a dynasty on torque, style, and a rock-solid mechanical layout. It became the British motorcycle engine, Bonneville's, trophies, speed twins. You couldn't swing a spanner in the 60s without hitting one. Celebrities rode them. Racers won on them. Mechanics barely needed to touch them. And while the Japanese wave of the 70s sank most of Britain's bike industry, the Triumph Twin never fully vanished. It simply waited. Then, in the early 2000s, it came back smarter, stronger, smoother. The new 865cc air-cooled twins featured 360 degrees cranks and dual balancer shafts, eliminating the old hand-numbing buzz and earning a reputation for quiet longevity. Riders began logging 6-digit odometer readings with nothing but regular oil and valve checks. And the modern Bonneville line carries this bloodline forward with the water-cooled 900cc T, 101,200cc T120 leading the charge. The T120 puts down just under 80 horsepower, tuned for low-end grunt, not rev-happy theatrics. It's not flawless, though, as early models had wiring gremlins and some corrosion issues, but the engine itself is rock solid. Moving on to the Suzuki SV650 engine. The Suzuki SV650's 645cc V-twin isn't flashy. It doesn't even boast wild horsepower figures or MotoGP lineage, but what it lacks in hype, it makes up for in sheer, ruthless reliability. Since its 1999 debut, and especially after its 2016 update, this little V-twin has earned a reputation as one of the most dependable engines in motorcycling. And not just change the oil and pray reliable, it's more like cockroach after the apocalypse reliable. And its secret is simplicity paired with thoughtful engineering. The 90 degrees V-twin configuration delivers perfect primary balance, eliminating the need for a balancer shaft and reducing wear over time. That layout also means silky engine braking and smooth revving from 6,000 to 9,000 revolutions per minute. Peak torque sits at 47 pound-feet, with power topping out around 75 brake horsepower. Not extreme, not underwhelming, just dialed in. Suzuki's updates over the years have only made it tougher. Resin-coated piston skirts and plated cylinders cut friction, letting it rev harder and meet Euro 4 and Euro 5 regulations without losing character. A smooth, 6-speed gearbox rounds it out with trademark Suzuki polish, with no drama and no surprises. And then there's the mileage. You'll find owners on forums claiming 100,000, 120,000, even 130,000 miles, without ever cracking the cases open. These aren't garage queens either. These bikes get flogged by commuters, track rats, and new riders still learning what not to do. Yet the engine shrugs it off. Part of what makes it so bulletproof is its mild state of tune. It's not trying to squeeze every last horsepower from the block. Instead, it's built to take punishment, hard revs, missed shifts, and neglected oil changes without letting out a cough. And because it's popular, Suzuki keeps tweaking it, ironing out issues, and keeping it current. Is it the most exciting engine? No. But that's not the point. The SV650 engine puts your mind at rest through any ride. Next on the list is Honda Goldwing engine. Honda's Goldwing Flat 6, especially in the GL 1800 models, is the poster child for engineering overkill. This 1,833cc liquid-cooled, horizontally opposed six-cylinder doesn't scream or snarl. It hums. It's smooth, refined, and quietly unkillable. Originally introduced back in 1974, the Goldwing's engine has evolved into something nearly absurd in its longevity. In the GL 1800 models, it found its perfect form. The layout is inherently balanced with zero primary vibration, meaning the engine barely breaks a sweat doing what others strain to pull off. It's understressed, over-engineered, and perfectly happy hauling half a ton of bike, rider, passenger, and luggage coast to coast for decades. Owners routinely report mileages north of 200,000. Some go beyond 300,000 with just routine maintenance. No rebuild, just oil, filters, and maybe a new timing belt if you're feeling generous. Honda recommends valve checks at 32,000 miles and 4,000-mile service intervals. Basic stuff, really, for an engine this sophisticated. The Goldwing isn't flawless, of course. Neglected bikes may develop rust in the exhaust collector box, and clumsy mechanics can mess up the wiring loom during replacements. Binding brake calipers pop up now and then. But the engine is the bomb. A well-maintained GL 1800 motor will shrug off cross-country abuse and keep spinning with the kind of composure usually reserved for bullet trains. The flat six also helps define the ride. Low center of gravity, turbine-like power delivery, and an effortless vibe that makes 1,000-mile days feel like a casual jog. It's a mechanical butler that does everything you ask of it, and then some, without ever asking for much in return. You could say the same for number 7, BMW R1200 GS engine. The BMW R1200 GS is the flagship of an entire lifestyle, and at the heart of this go-anywhere, outlast-everything machine beats a 1,170cc air/liquid-cooled boxer twin engine that's become shorthand for adventure touring. Introduced in 2004 as the successor to the R1150 GS, this engine pushed BMW's long-standing boxer lineage into the 21st century. With its signature opposed cylinder layout and shaft-driven final drive, it was smooth, balanced, and ready for war. By 2013, it received a major upgrade bumping power to 125 horsepower, gaining liquid cooling and refining its delivery for both asphalt and gravel. The result was an engine that would go on to power the GS range unchanged for the next 6 years because it didn't need fixing. This engine wasn't designed for showroom burnout contests. It was designed to haul a rider, gear, and dreams across continents, and it's damn good at it. Reports of R1200 GS bikes hitting 100,000 miles without major rebuilds are not rare, and its longevity lies in the engineering. Perfect primary balance, low-stress power delivery, chain-driven cams with short push rods, and a torquey 89 pound-feet at just 6,000 revolutions per minute. The boxer layout keeps the center of gravity low for better handling on unpredictable terrain, and thanks to BMW's conservative tuning and near-mythical build quality, this engine has earned the kind of trust most machines never touch. Sure, rust-prone exhaust collectors and electrical quirks can surface, especially on neglected models, but the motor is untouchable. Proper maintenance, valve checks, and fluid swaps, and it'll return the favor mile after relentless mile. Even with the newer R1250 GS and R1300 GS on the scene, the R1200 GS remains a gold standard. Number 6, Yamaha YZF R1 engine. When the original Yamaha R1 launched in 1998, it blindsided the supersport world. A 998cc, 20-valve, inline-4 engine, producing 150 horsepower and a bike weighing under 180 kilograms was a warning shot. Honda's Fireblade may have come first, but the R1's engine was the star of the show. It was sharper, lighter, and meaner, and it redefined what a leader-class sport bike could be. The secret was more than brute force. Project leader Kunihiko Miwa engineered the gearbox to sit stacked vertically behind the cylinders, allowing the engine to be more compact. That meant a longer swing arm without stretching the wheelbase. This was a game changer for handling. This layout was so clever, it became a blueprint nearly every other manufacturer eventually copied. But the real revolution came in 2009. That year, Yamaha introduced the cross-plane crankshaft, technology borrowed directly from its MotoGP M1 race bike. Instead of firing evenly like a traditional inline-4, the crank pins were spaced at 90-degree intervals, creating an uneven firing order and what riders came to call a big bang feel. The result was a torquier, more controlled delivery of power, especially during corner exits. The engine sounded like a snarling V4, pulled like a freight train, and still delivered 180 horsepower at peak. In 2014, Yamaha pushed things further with shorter stroke design, nearly 200 horsepower, ride-by-wire, electronic aids, and race-spec variable intakes. Today's R1 still carries that DNA. It's surgical at the top end, savage in the mid-range, and surprisingly manageable thanks to an ever-growing suite of electronics. The same engine architecture also lives inside the MT10, detuned slightly, but still unhinged, and remains one of the most characterful inline-4s ever made. You can't talk about reliability without stressing the Honda, though. Number 5, Honda ST Series engine. If reliability had a shrine, Honda's ST Series would be enshrined in gold. The ST1100 and its successor, the ST1300, are endurance machines disguised as sport tourers. Built for the long haul, both of these motorcycles have cultivated a near-mythical reputation for dependability. But what makes them so bulletproof? And how do they compare when it comes to standing the test of time? The ST1100, introduced in 1990, came with a liquid-cooled 1085cc V4 engine. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't trying to win any dyno battles, but it was designed with one word in mind: longevity. This engine is famous for easily topping 200,000 miles with only routine maintenance, valve checks, oil changes, maybe the odd timing belt. And that belt? Honda gave it a 90,000 mile replacement interval. Now that's a flex, but even legends must pass the torch. In 2002, Honda introduced the ST1300, a modernized, slightly more muscular successor. The 1,261cc V4 bumped up the power, refined the ride, and came with features like an adjustable windscreen and optional ABS. It still kept the longitudinal V4 layout, shaft drive, and the cast iron reliability that made the ST1100 a tourer's best friend. Anecdotal evidence and owner forums are stacked with stories of ST1300s crossing the 300,000 mile mark with minimal drama. Both engines share the same DNA: overbuilt, understressed, and smooth as silk at highway speeds. Their shaft drives eliminate the need for constant chain maintenance. Their cooling systems are robust, and their engines are tuned for usable torque, not high-rev abuse. These are bikes that encourage you to ride coast to coast and barely think about it. Moving on to the Kawasaki Ninja 650 engine. The Kawasaki Ninja 650 doesn't scream for attention like its big brother, the H2R. It doesn't need to. It quietly delivers something far more valuable: trust. At the heart of this mid-weight sport commuter lies a 649cc parallel twin that's been in continuous production since 2006, and it has earned a cult following for one simple reason: it never quits. Adapted and retuned for models like the Versy 650 and ER6F, this twin has seen it all: commutes, canyon runs, track days, world tours, and handled it with mechanical grace. Motorcycle News dubbed it bulletproof, and owners back that up with real-world stories of engines crossing the 100,000 mile mark with nothing more than oil, filters, and valve checks. It's a modest engine on paper: 67 horsepower, 47 pound-feet of torque, but it punches well above its weight in real use. The power band is flexible and forgiving, pulling hard to the 10,000 revolutions per minute through redline without sounding strained. It's not intimidating, but it's far from boring. You can thrash it all day, and it just keeps going. No overheating, no mystery failures, just solid, honest performance. That reliability is paired with a smooth, balanced feel. You'll feel a touch of vibration through the bars around 60 miles per hour, but it fades away at highway speeds, letting the engine hum in the background while the miles roll by. Its revised exhaust gives off a throaty, satisfying growl that makes the ride feel faster than the spec sheet suggests. And because it's not a horsepower monster, you can ride it hard without fearing for your license or your engine's lifespan. The Ninja 650's parallel twin isn't exotic. It's not groundbreaking, but it doesn't need to be. It's built for real riders, real roads, and real mileage. Year after year, rev after rev, it shows up, ready to run. Number 3, Yamaha MT-07 CP2 engine. The Yamaha MT-07, known as the FZ-07 in North America until 2017, might be the most dependable thing to ever leave Yamaha's factory not named a piano. Launched in 2014, it quickly became a go-to for new riders, commuters, stunt junkies, and anyone who just wanted a bike that works. Every time, no excuses. At its core is the CP2 engine, which is a 689cc parallel twin with 8 valves, fuel injection, and one hell of a reputation. It's compact, light, and tuned to deliver torque down low, where real-world riding happens. But what makes it special is the crank. Yamaha's cross-plane concept uses a 270-degree firing order that mimics a V-twin's power pulse, giving the engine a unique growl and a meaty, responsive feel under throttle. The numbers aren't wild at 74 horsepower and 50 pound-feet of torque, but the delivery is what counts. It's smooth, predictable, and loves being revved. But here's the kicker: it'll do it for decades. Owners have taken their MT-07S well past 100,000 miles. High-mileage survivors are everywhere, and reports of major mechanical failure are practically non-existent. Follow the manual. Oil every 4,000 miles, check valves every 24,000, and the CP2 will reward you with miles of unbothered, throaty performance. Consumer Reports' 2015 reliability survey even had Yamaha at the top of the list, with only 11% of bikes needing significant repair after 4 years. The MT-07 played a big part in that rating, and it's only gotten better since. Even after being returned to meet stricter Euro 5 emission standards in 2021, the engine never lost its charm. It's still punchy, still playful, and still rock solid or reliable. It's a get-it-done engine. Back at Honda with the Honda Super Cub engine. The Honda Super 2. Cub is more than the best-selling motorcycle in history. It's the foundation stone of Honda's global empire. Launched in 1958, the Super Cub's 124cc air-cooled single-cylinder four-stroke engine is the reason over 120 million units have been sold. Yes, million. At a time when two-stroke engines were dominating cheap transportation, Soichiro Honda insisted on doing it his way with a clean, quiet, ultra-simple four-stroke design. The result was a motor that sipped fuel, shrugged off abuse, and outlived anything in its price range. Mounted low and forward under the frame, the Super Cub's engine gave the bike stable handling and a low center of gravity. Add in a clutchless 3-speed semi-auto transmission and big wheels for confident road manners, and suddenly you had a scooter that behaved like a motorcycle. But what truly made the Super Cub legendary was how it refused to die. This engine isn't over the top at just 9 horsepower and 10.4 Newton-meter of torque. But the thing is, it doesn't need to be. Its strength lies in its brutal simplicity. No radiators, no computers, just a low-stressed, air-cooled motor that can be fixed in a shed with a screwdriver and a smile. It's been dropped, drowned, overloaded, neglected, and misused by millions, and it just keeps ticking. Its reliability is so bulletproof, so culturally baked in, that in many parts of the world, a Honda means motorcycle, period. Farmers ride them, delivery riders live on them, kids learn on them, and even in developed markets, it remains a cult favorite for its nostalgic charm and legendary endurance. The Super Cub's engine has stood the test of time and still going strong more than 65 years later. Honda takes it home with the Honda CB 750 engine. In 1969, Honda dropped a bomb on the motorcycle world, and it came in the form of the CB 750. This bike was seen as the world's first superbike, and it raised the bar so high that it made the old bar obsolete. At the heart of this revolution was Honda's 736cc air-cooled inline-4 engine, a power plant that would become a global benchmark for reliability, smoothness, and performance. While British and American manufacturers were still wringing out every last bit from aging parallel twins and thumping V-twins, Honda showed up with something smoother, cleaner, and better engineered. A single overhead camshaft, 2 valves per cylinder, and a buttery 68 horsepower may not sound radical today, but in 1969, this setup was space-age stuff. No oil leaks, no vibration, no kickstart tantrums. Just a quiet, smooth, electric start motor that topped out at 120 miles per hour without shaking your fillings loose. What made the CB 750's engine legendary was Honda's obsession with build quality. Each unit was stress-tested at 6,000 revolutions per minute for 200 hours, then hammered at redline for 20 more. Vibrations were tuned out, components were overbuilt, every engine got the same meticulous treatment. The result was a motor that lasted. This was the engine that signaled the end for British dominance. It was a knockout punch in 4 cylinders. Affordable, reliable, and thrilling, it set the template for every inline-4 sport bike that followed. Even today, classic CB 750s are prized not just for nostalgia, but for the enduring quality of their engineering. And that's why it's still discussed today as one of the most important engines ever built. In a time when motorcycles leaked oil and rattled apart, the CB 750's inline-4 offered something unheard of: peace of mind at 8,500 revolutions per minute. What other bike deserves a spot on the list? Drop your comment below and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ride safe.